This next video is called VTuber Rants About Men and It Doesn't Go Well. We already went over a couple of these with one prior VTuber, but this one I think is a different person this time, so I just like covering this stuff. I think it's funny, and yeah, we'll see what happens here.
Thank you, Sea-Runner, for the tag. What do we got here? Let's take a look. Another VTuber hating men? Didn't we just talk about that the other day?
Yeah.
Wow, these people are not very original, are they? I guess the context is this. VTuber Vivi saying, the raw fuel of white male rage. And a response from Shiro? Wait, Shiro? Okay, yeah, I got it right. Triple Shiro. I know it's kind of difficult on the eyes because of the Twitter formatting and all that, but it is a pretty important thing. Let's read this. Maybe I'll just read it over gameplay. Be a little easier. So Shiro says, well, guess this is where we part ways, V. It was interesting to say the least. I really thought you were smart enough not to make such a mask-off statement. But I have men in my life I actually care about and no one else does. Heck, I spend some days in fear that my own boyfriend will end himself because he was born in a society that couldn't possibly care less about him. So yes, enjoy that rage all you like, because I don't need the stress. I'm not the type to revel in the anger of people who are over 75% of life-ending situations, 69% homeless, 78% of murder victims, can be drafted to be sent into a foreign country to die in a war they have nothing to do with, and 98% of the people no one even cares about. I'd implore you to give it a shot sometime, because the patriarchy card doesn't put food on the table, it doesn't get you friends, it doesn't get you a shoulder to cry on. As a matter of fact, it reduces the odds you get any of these things a great deal, because no one actually cares about men. Yeah, it's definitely a hefty comment, and one I was not expecting going into this. You know, I see a topic about some V-tweeter saying some nonsense on Twitter, I'm like, alright. And I see that comment, it's like, whoa. So I feel bad, man, that's intense. That said, I would like to make a statement. Hopefully this kind of makes Shiro feel a little better, and any men out there. There are definitely people that care about men. I see more and more men and women standing up for men these days. I obviously also care about men. I care about people in general. And I've actually considered about making a video talking about the issues that men face, because I do think there is some exceptional issues that men face in this day and age. I mean, me personally, I still believe that, honestly, and I believe this because from my personal opinion and perspective, and from experiences, I believe obviously men are still underlooked well beyond what women are. You know, women are treated way better still in like the society I live in and where I'm located at versus men. Especially the city that I live in, it's a woman's state, or the state in general is a woman's state. And I mean, I've seen crackhead mothers win their kids back in court cases, still on drugs going to court, versus a well-rounded father who has a job and the mother's just on food stamps, doesn't work, none of that. Women, in my opinion, are still treated better than men, and men are still overlooked, at least where I am. I don't know about other places, but that's from my personal experience. Said, some of it is actually not too dissimilar from stuff that men have faced previously. It's just different with current technology. It is definitely an issue. However, like I said, I think women also face particular unique issues in 2023. I just can't talk about that as much because I'm a dude. I obviously I don't know too much about the
right. And I will agree also that women probably still face certain situations and, you know, get treated a certain way, and I'm sure there's a lot of creeps that they have to deal with on a daily basis that harass them and things like that. So I'm not saying it's just one-sided here either.
Unique experiences that women face, but I do think women get unnecessary hate a lot of the time from certain influential men out there. Although, like I also mentioned, given the fact that I'm a guy, I can talk much more about that side of things. And I'm very interested in doing such, actually. So please consider letting me know if you're interested in that in the comments. I'll take a look and see what you have to say, and maybe we'll talk about that more in the future. For now, though, let's get back to the VTuber stuff. So as we saw, Vivi-chan left this comment. Shiro then left this response. Vivi-chan actually responded as well, saying, no problem, you do you, little art sibling. collecting only 2 likes versus 5,300 views. A response from Ego Death, ratioing VV Chan, saying, "No problem, you do you," proceeds to quote tweet, collecting 96 likes. And here is that quote tweet, VV Chan responding to Shiro saying, "But males are victims too. Does not take away the existence of white male privilege. Those privileges exist regardless of an individual's specific circumstances, because privilege describes the benefits of a group, not an individual." This getting 153 excuse me.
Okay, first of all, if it's white male privilege, it's going to be white privilege in general. Why is sex involved in this? I don't know. Maybe somebody can clarify that for me, but I don't believe sex should be involved in it. Even if there was a racial privilege. I don't know. And I don't even know why she's bringing that up to begin with, because white privilege has nothing to do with what she was talking about.
153,000 views and a whole hefty 95 likes. 118 quote tweets. Let's see what these are saying. Yeah, so the quote tweets, they're not happy with this person. They seem to pretty much all disagree. Let's read this one. "I always imagine people like this stepping out of their university dorm, Starbucks in one hand, an iPhone in the other, walking up to a crowd of homeless white dudes in a parking lot and saying this stuff with an expression of supreme smugness on their faces." VV then adding this. "I see this a lot, where people who are poor or suicidal or otherwise not in a good place have trouble accepting that they belong to a group that perpetuates systematic injustices on others. We all have privileges. It doesn't mean everybody hates you. The idea of privilege is not about personal blame as much as recognizing sometimes invisible victims of an unjust system." VV then saying, "I am a cis woman, and this gives me privileges that trans women do not have. This doesn't mean I don't have disadvantages related to being cis. These can exist simultaneously. It's not a competition, and I don't hate trans women when they mention I have advantages." VV.
Alright, first of all, what the fuck is cis? Somebody let me know in the chat or in the description below. What is cis? No, I'm not educated in this at all.
Going off some more here. And hey, yo, Vivi, that's all great. Fine and well. Super great job. But are you going to do anything to actually help anyone? Or are you just going to make a bunch of inflammatory tweets? Vivi then saying, "I know this may not seem like it, but I talk about my liberal views on social issues all the time on my social media, my stream. This shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. So if you don't know, now you know." This response, this is crazy. This is actually insane. Orazio saying, "The liberal views of not believing you can be racist towards someone who has more power, even if the person is not white." Orazio
right.
saying, "So if a black person is the one with more power, then it's not possible to be racist towards them. What about a Hispanic or Asian person?" And Vivi saying, "Oh yes, exactly. You get how I see things. It depends on the power and the context." So apparently Vivi would be fine calling a black dude the N-word as long as the black dude has more power than Vivi has.
Bro, that's fucked up. Oh my god. What did he... Who educates these people on these matters? How do you come up with that way of thinking? It just fucking baffles my mind. Like, what? If someone has more power, then you... Doesn't make any fucking sense. If somebody has more power than you, then they can say whatever the fuck they want to you and not suffer any consequences. No. Everyone should be treated equally. There is no bullshit that has... This is just fucking plain bullshit and stupidity.
My gosh, this is the exact sort of liberal that other liberals hate. Like, this makes the entire party look awful. So I guess Vivi made a video. Let's check it out.
Attention! White male privilege exists.
So to be fair, there are definitely some situations where being white can be beneficial. However, there are also situations where being white is definitely not beneficial and is actually the opposite. For example, there was one time a while back when my buddy and I were going to Compton to pick up bucket seats he got from some dude off Craigslist. Well, you know, he met the dude on Craigslist and we went to pick him up. And so we did. We got the bucket seats and all that. And then we were like still in Compton for a minute. And this dude comes up to us and he like literally said that we need to leave because we're white. And to be fair, this wasn't a racist thing. The guy was looking out for us. He was completely right. We stood out too much. We had like this property in the car. We could have been robbed. We could have got the car stolen. We were being stupid just hanging out there with this stuff, to be quite frank. So he was right.
Okay.
That said, it's still an example where being white certainly was not beneficial. Conversely, however, There's also areas in Compton where being black can be a problem, you know, depending on who you're affiliated with and what street you're on. Absolutely, that can be a problem too. Although, of course, that's not based on being
He's referring to gangs.
black. That issue would be who you're affiliated with and what block you're on. The point I'm getting at is this stuff requires nuance, and people like Vivi on Twitter who talk about this stuff just make the most pointless takes that really don't help anyone, and they lack nuance and they lack actual knowledge on this topic. It just comes off like Vivi is just recycling stuff they heard somewhere or read somewhere, and that Vivi lacks actual knowledge on this topic, like I said. And that's actually fine. People obviously need to learn. They don't start with like just maxed out intel stat, right?
All right.
The issue is that Vivi's acting like she knows so much about this topic when it's pretty obvious that she doesn't, and she lacks nuance on it. And so I guess Vivi was still complaining about all this stuff this morning. Man, I'm bored. This VTuber is dreadfully boring. I'm gonna wrap this up in a minute, but if you want the other two takes, there you are. You know what? We came this far. I'll just read them. All white men benefit from being white men because they don't need to deal with not being white men, but that doesn't mean that all white men are living their best lives. Identifying white male privilege doesn't help white males. It points out the small disadvantages non-white and non-males have because they lack that privilege. I love to talk about toxic masculinity and systematic biases against men, but that wasn't the original topic. It's also just a weird hyper focus that Vivi has specifically on white.
That doesn't make any sense at all. Like, what? Yeah. First of all, how can she even speak on this because she's not a white male? Secondly, there are plenty other races that I've seen that had more privilege than white people. I'm not trying to get in. I'm not going to get into the whole racial thing, but there are plenty other races that I've seen that had more privileges and more opportunities than white people have growing up, and especially in our culture today now.
Male privilege and not white privilege in general. Like, if she wants to talk about
Not saying everybody has, but from what I've seen.
white privilege, let's talk about white privilege across the board. But yeah, once again, I don't think she genuinely cares about this topic. I think she's picking white men because policy on social media generally protects groups of people, and the group of people that policy generally protects the least is straight white men. So that's probably why she's trying to make some like inflammatory tweets against those people, because she's really desperate for engagement. Although it didn't really end well because she's been completely bleeding subscribers like every day, going from even like 61.5 to almost less than 6,000. So yeah, great job, I guess. I just made a video a week ago basically talking about a VTuber hating men and ending bad, and then like, here we go again, you know? By the way, I bet a lot of the people on following her are women that don't like seeing this sort of thing, as we saw in the very beginning of this video. But yeah, I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate your time. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. I look forward to seeing you there. And of course, tomorrow for the next segment, it'll be fun.
I feel like this was a pretty good video, as well as the last one that we watched. And I've seen a few of his videos. I'll give him a sub. I like these VTuber videos just because the fucking people that are making these fucking Twitter posts are completely out of their mind and have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. And they're just living in a fucking fantasy world, in my opinion.
Hey guys, if you like the video, make sure you head over to the page, hit that like button, scroll over, smash that subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get notified for future video drops, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.